Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm TyJon Charlie, sitting down with Alex Girard from NoRobot once again. Always good to see you. Always happy to have a chance to talk shop with you a little bit, see what's up with you in the NoRobot scene. So you had the album come out pretty recently. So how's that been going?
It's been going good. We went all through the summer with singles. We topped it off with album release at Mother Murphy's, which went really well.
Which I actually was at that show.
Yeah.
I can attest that you guys sounded very, very awesome.
It's always good to see you out on I think it was a Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Sunday.
Anytime it's a weekend catching you out, I always feel a little bit privileged.
Right. Well, when I can't make it happen, I try. But, it's one of the drawbacks, I would say, to being actively performing musician, and in the way I do it anyway, where I'm playing, to pay the bills every Friday, Saturday, all that stuff.
You're booking so far in advance.
Right.
You got it. You got your calendar
pretty locked down. And so what that means, though, is all my Fridays and Saturdays are the first to be off the table to do anything that's, remotely fun. A lot of Sundays in the summer, I get the occasional Thursday, Tuesday kind of thing.
Yeah, you really fill it up. That's why I guess the good thing about a Sunday show, though, I experienced that this past Friday, Halloween weekend. We played, put together a Nirvana tribute act.
That's cool. I heard good things.
Yeah.
Ryan went to that show. He said he had a really good time. You guys sounded awesome. And he said, I think he said Kill the Martian.
Mm-hmm.
They played a good set, too.
They did Pearl Jam. The Complaint Line did Husker Du. Fucking killed it. Sad Rat, Sublime, killed it. Nick Gundy did The Chariot, which I was less familiar with. But he always brings a lot of energy. He's fucking super talented dude.
I've seen some of his Nap House stuff that he has on YouTube, and it really sounds great. I mean, I don't know him that well or anything, but I wasn't sure what to expect. He came in there, I think we were recording a session, and he was like coming in at the tail end, and he had the electric guitar, big amp, everything. So I was like, oh, this would be kind of metally probably or something. And then he just sings these beautiful,
he does it all though, because he has that metal side to him too. He'll do like the screaming, real heavy guitars. But yeah, I think I even saw a video of him at some Nashville like songwriter thing, which I think you've done before. I know Kyle's done before. And the sort of stuff kind of played there. He stepped right into that too. So I mean,
kind of master of all. But I don't know. I was very impressed watching those videos that he did over at Nap House for the first time. I was like, wow, he's like real legit. Like no familiarity, no expectation, and then just kind of. And I think local guy, so maybe I manage my expectation a little. It was like, it's gonna be okay, but then when you see a local guy that's awesome, you're like, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but
no doubt.
Anyway, so tell me more about that show. So I know you're a big Nirvana guy.
Yeah,
and isn't it the 30th anniversary of In Utero or something?
Yeah,
pretty
30th
recently.
anniversary. Yeah, my favorite album all time for like probably since I heard it. Super impactful on me, like probably my favorite band if I had to pick just one. And it's what I grew up learning on. It's like, some bands are perfect for learning guitar on. Nirvana is one of them. Like it's real easy stuff, but like real catchy stuff you want to play, I still want to play.
I mean, I don't know. I think in my opinion, the reason they revolutionized like music is because there's this like weird kind of off darkness, kind of, even every part of every one of their songs has almost one part that's just like, ooh, I didn't expect that. And just the overall vibe is just a little bit different. So I mean, not only do you get kind of the simplicity part of it, but then you also get that
it's like a rawness too or something. Like In Utero, I think really captures that best. It's like they and I think they set out to do that, just capture that raw sound in studio, so it's still like kind of like perfectly captured, but just all out there.
Right. I think one of maybe Kurt's complaints about the first album was that it was just like overproduced.
Yeah.
So I think they were trying to kind of
go back to their roots, kind of.
Yeah, and just get a more natural, this is how we sound kind of sound, which is something I feel like I've been trying to come full circle on, because I for so long was trying to get like this like radio ready, like amazing polished sound, to show that I could, compete with. But then it's like there's a line somewhere where you go overboard, and then it's like making everything kind of sound a little bit too vanilla, or too like, not taking any chances at a certain point, because you're just trying to, keep the peace with your songs. And then like coming back around, like I just released a song called Premonition Man. Very kind of, it's not lo-fi, I wouldn't say that, but compared to what I normally do, very underproduced.
Yeah.
And,
fucking super cool video too. Like, that's such a cool idea.
Gotta give Ryan Wolf a lot of props on that. I was telling you,
to get with him on some of them video ideas.
I started a long time ago.
Wolf.
Yeah. Wolf. Started a long time ago because I had this kind of idea in my head, like puppet of a puppet. Because there was a time where I was playing guitar and I was like kind of clunky and I was feeling kind of sloppy. And I was like, I feel like a puppet. Like I feel like there's somebody, kind of controlling me up here. And like then I'm controlling the guitar, which would be the puppet of a puppet kind of feel. I was trying to explain this idea to him. Weird thought, kind of,
I think you execute it really well, though. I think it really works. Like you guys really made that shit work.
But that was all I gave him. I didn't really. And then he did this picture for the album art, which was really cool. And I was kind of, last minute, kind of scrambling to get something together. And he had that kind of idea, and he had mentioned that video idea after I told him the original idea, and I was just like, that's a cool idea, but I just don't know
how you'd make it work.
Yeah, like taking the he's just, that's how he works, which is just like, let's just do it, really
quick
puts
too.
It to action.
Like, great
at editing, great vision for stuff like that. But anyhow, back to Nirvana, which he's also a huge fan of.
Yeah. Actually too, though, talking about that, like In Utero. Switch from Nevermind In Utero. The first line of Serve the Servants is that, teenage angst has paid off well, now I'm bored and old. Self-appointed judges judge more than they have sold, talking about the criticism of the polishedness of the Nevermind. And just kind of channeling that. I think he probably agreed with it, but it'd probably be hard not to hear that all the time. You break through. Your biggest success is also you end up getting sick of it too. And even with what you're talking about getting more and more polished, going over to a point, you kind of got pendulum's kind of got to swing back the other way.
Right, and it's like now I wonder if I'm gonna get to a spot where I'm underproducing stuff, which
and then you go,
it's and I think that's just a good, I got to give you an example. I got this bass pedal a long time ago, which has a poly out, so it means I can run the octave lower than the lowest note I'm playing to a separate amp, and it'll just play that note. So It's a cool idea. Little weird, you kind of have to adjust the way you play everything, but it's like when I first got that pedal, I tried to use it on every song, and some of them would go okay. Most of them, it was like too much. I couldn't figure out how to, I got to change my fingering here and do the, in real time, not because I don't practice with my pedal board a whole lot. So I was, but anyway, so I got to a point where I was like, I need to use this way less because it's just not going well. I had a couple like just decent shows, not great shows. And so then, I'm not using it at all. Now I've gotten to a point where I feel like I use it the right amount. And I just think that, with anything new musical, that's how I get, is like, like you're saying, the pendulum will go, oh, this is amazing. Try to use it on everything. Try to, even if it's just like a way of singing, or like, like my falsetto or something like that. Or I really like this combination of pedals together. I could go on and on. And then you'd overdo it. But that, overdoing it really gets you really polished with it.
Yeah, you get real, you get real good with it, and then you and that's maybe when you do realize that you've gone too far with it, maybe, so to speak, or you do dial it back, and you kind of find its place with that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like you go here way too extreme, and then you're like, probably not, I shouldn't use it nearly as much, and then it's like you find that nice happy medium.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of things in music are like that.
Yeah. It's a lot of just building, adding to your toolkit, building things. It's a lot better than staying comfortable just staying in one lane, I think. I also like to kind of pair it to where I've been at lately is, I started out like I said, Nirvana's one of my favorite bands, but I've never really played a lot of stuff like that, in bands. Like, I've always been more technical, I never really played punk or metal that much. I played a lot more like blues and kind of more just like rock, alternative rock, maybe, I guess, maybe would be the closest thing,
rock, alternative rock.
Yeah, a bit more classic rock stuff for sure. And then I got sucked into the jam band scene, and then some funk music after that, and I think it's just about time. Like, I'm about to go into my punk rock phase.
There you go.
One thing that really opened me up to it is, we put out the album, and we've been kind of on hiatus. I think our next show is going to be like early December or something. Maybe Stumbling Block. I don't really have a date for that yet. And then December 20th at Six Strings, we're going to be playing Lollapalooza for Chewy's birthday party with Plexicats, Still Shine, and I know, right? Fucking, it's always great. We used to play with them I used to play with them 2009 or something.
Yeah, I booked
a long time ago.
Some shows back when I did booking over at theater school. I did that for a few years. And,
God, I wish we had a place like that again. That place was so cool.
It was interesting.
Wasn't it just an empty storefront, pretty much?
Yeah, and it was like theater,
downtown, right?
Theater, it was a listening room, which really was for plays ultimately. It's like it was an acting school, a theater school. That is it theater is cool, or is it theater school? That's kind of the play on the title of this theater school. But no H though. But anyway.
No.
But
cool's the rule.
Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting time period. I met a lot of groups, had some really talented people come through, had some weird nights for sure.
Yeah.
Being in that downtown kind of location, and then
where was that at? Do you know? What was that across?
A little bit further down the road than Coffee Hound, I think. Or
okay.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Monroe Street, Monroe and Maine.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's at.
Man, because one thing we do lack a lot of in this town is more of like a towny DIY spot. I've been going to some of these house shows that are more like ISU DIY stuff. They're all kind of like college bands and stuff, and I feel like really it is a little bit separated from the rest of the music scene in town. The college bands are, and it's mostly probably just like an age thing or whatever, you know what I mean? But they do really well, and I just kind of think there's a lot of bands that miss out on that type of atmosphere, venue, show, just because we don't have places like that much anymore. Local, like more of a towny DIY thing, you know what I mean? More venues that aren't venues, like establishments, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, so let's talk through it. We have the Castle, obviously one of the main venues in town. That's just a music venue, which is a cool spot. I think we all appreciate and like the Castle.
It's kind of like the top tier you can get on.
Well, there's that, and some might argue Center Performing Arts up in the mix for that. I don't
think I've played that. You played there before, right? Or you shot
we did that video during COVID where we just did a little concert there, and they shot. Cool. Yeah, that was fun. But not a legit show there ever.
They don't get into the local thing as much, but
I've seen sometimes. Usually it's rare occasion, but they will have one of the bigger local acts. And then so those are kind of the two like main spots in town as far. So let's just talk original music, right? So we're the Castle, which you could do cover bands there. Mostly it's touring artists that are doing original stuff. Bloomington Center Performing Arts. I guess the very top tier, which I've played at technically, but I don't even know what it's called anymore.
I assume you're talking about the Coliseum.
Yes.
I always it's down in the Coliseum in my heart because I normally under my breath I'm like, fuck the Coliseum, but that's. I worked there for a very long time.
Oh, I got you. So you have some pent up.
I have some built-in aggression. But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. There's certain places too, right? And maybe it's just the part of the scene that we're in or something. Like, that just seem like black holes to me for music. Like the Coliseum, I never really hear what's going on there.
That's
Six
true.
Strings, I don't hear a lot too. We are playing there December 20th, but normally not the case, you know. And it's always popping, but it's like a whole other world over there.
Right. You wonder if that's a separation of algorithm. I mean, because that kind of music, that straight like country stuff, maybe doesn't show up in my algorithm.
But even like even in the real world algorithms too, like I feel like it's right across the street from the bars I normally am around, and it looks busy, but it's like I never know what it's like over there anymore, you know.
Well, and that was one of the places we used to play all the time.
Back
when we were playing like full band all the time. I mean, that was just one of our spots. Ultimately.
We played there a lot.
And then it just.
I know a lot of the people work there. I think they do. They just have their thing, and I think they do well with the crowd they have and the bands they book.
It's a nice stage, and it's like, you know, you wish that you could kind of, at least I shouldn't speak for both of us.
Oh no, I totally.
I wish that, you know, it was more open to kind of people that do more what we do once in a while. But, you know, we at least had a fun run there when it was doing that. And as most things do, you know, it might probably come back around another year or two, you know. It's been...
Maybe, you know, if y'all show up on the 20th of December, maybe...
it'll change everything.
Yeah, maybe they'll open their eyes to...
Paradigm shift. Yeah. But, that one I would say is a little bit of, for a long time, it's been a little bit of a different world. I mean, I haven't been over there... I can't even remember. It's been years, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Which... was one of the bars I frequented every, I think it was every Wednesday. They had Chicago Farmer and Edward David
It was more like a local music kind of bar.
Every Wednesday those two would play there, and it was like their night, and I don't know, it was always a good time, something to do on a Wednesday, you know, there's not always a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was my first experience with Six Strings, was going to those shows, and those were always so much fun. And that's what introduced me to both those guys, really, as far as, you know, I enjoyed them quite a bit. So
Me too. I think the first show I went to at a bar was at Six Strings, like when I was 21. I believe it was like Chicago Farmer, Jake Willis, Henhouse Prowlers.
Wow.
And maybe, I mean, I already kind of knew Ed a little bit before then, but I don't know if he was on that bill. But that was...
well, that's like a full circle thing, because Jake plays in his band now all the time. Jake Willis as like the lead, and then I think he opens and stuff with his one-man band.
And we got to play with the Henhouse Prowlers at Castle Theater. I mean, that was
the other thing. You know? Yeah, I was about to say, is like, you know, I mean, that was how many years later than your first show there? Yeah. And they still were kind of, you know, a part of that same scene, just like boosted, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, now they're traveling all over the world. I think they're like doing something where they get to like have some sort of music programs all throughout the world, like meet people. Awesome. It's really cool to see.
But anyhow, so Six Strings, what other, obviously Night Shop. Night Shop is a great local original band or music spot for sure.
They do a lot of touring acts, and they get a lot of local support. They're always filling up the calendar for sure.
And I don't know, there's something special about a place that really does that, I think, because it really supports like young up and coming songwriters, and you know, if you're just playing original music, or even if you do some covers, you know, covering, like most of the shows I do 3 or 4 hours on that come up, you know, it's more of a stretch. So being able to do a 45-minute set and maybe an all original set at a place like that, with kind of opening for a tour, you know, that's really cool, really supportive, and you know, it's just cool to be a part of something like that. And I'm glad, you know, anytime I can get on a bill over there, I will probably pretty much always take it if I'm free, because, you know, where else do I get to play all originals?
Yeah. They offered me, you know, when I knew we were gonna stop playing for a little bit. Toes was having a kid, and I knew I was gonna have this big gap in like booking and stuff, because he was in every band I was in at the time. I didn't know exactly what I was gonna do, and you know, I had some ideas, but it'd take some time, and it was kind of cool because like Chris reached out to me and asked if I'd play like some solo stuff, and you know, I used to play Potbelly and I mean, I started out kind of forming bands kind of around some of the stuff I was doing. It's a different vibe for me. I never felt like much of a solo act. These days, I'm so not in the habit of it. But I took the opportunity. It got me out there, got to play some shows, keep busy, do some stuff. And, same with like Wolf. He got like Wolf some shows when he was looking to do stuff.
Yeah.
It really gives people an opportunity to get out there and then show what they got. And so many people have come out of there even working there. Gone to like all the best sound people in town were working there, and now they're all like Castle, BCPA, at all these great places. So I mean, you got to give it up for that.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of the establishment venues we have. I know Poor Bros opened up. I haven't checked that out yet.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm excited about that because I play at the Peoria, I play at the Champagne.
It's just down the road now too. You know.
So
I've never been to one, so I really want to check it out.
I think I have one like the December 22nd over there or something.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'll have to check that out.
I will say though, I do think it is a 3-hour set every time. It's not really the same as these other spots we're kind of mentioning as far as like the like Night Shop or the Castle, where it's a lot of just straight originals and shorter sets and stuff like that. But awesome, supports awesome music. Love that place. Excited anytime I can, be over there. I'm just happy to be. But I
wish Diggers would do more with what they have. I know they don't seem to have a lot, but that place is really iconic for like music in this town. I feel like the open mic, and also being right next to the Castle, you get Bleed Over, where people like who play the Castle come and just tear up the open mic.
We had that one night, the
Melody
Trucks from the Stable.
That was unreal.
The Stable is where the new Poor Brothers is. So I mean, that might filter some similar situations.
But that's a lot of the establishment venues we have. I've been going to these house shows in Normal, which is a lot of the college scene, these ISU bands, a lot of the younger crowd and stuff, and they have an amazing scene too. They have amazing DIY scene. These bands are fucking killing it, and they're throwing these house shows and stuff. But I feel like you kind of age out of it, or it's like a little bit just
you just lose who to talk to about this.
Right. It's a part. It's a whole different world from a lot of these local bands. So I'd really like to see more of a towny
version of
DIY scene. We used to have like Matt Glass. That's what I'm saying. Like Come Together Space was kind of filling that void for a while, and they aren't doing shows anymore. I'm about ready to throw shows out of my own fucking house at this point. I'm seriously considering it. We just need more of that in our local scene, in our local towny scene. I think we just need more places to play. I'm thankful for what we got, but also there's just something about a house show, or
they're fun.
Like those like
it's a different energy.
Yeah, did you ever go to the Matt Glass shows back in the day and stuff? Like it was, I don't know, there's just like there's something to it that just was like really kind of special. Because a lot of people, a bar's a bar, and
people
don't
people aren't necessarily there to see live music. Whereas if you go to a place like you're talking about, that's the only reason people came. Much.
And I'd love to see that more. So I mean, maybe I'll open up my doors.
There you go.
I'm seriously considering it. So.
But, there's plenty of places to play in town. It's just a different vibe. And I mean, I've always been under the thinking like, I try to do everything. I may not do any of it amazingly, but I do it all like adequately. But
I mean,
I feel like
ability is availability, man. If you can do it,
Well, I think, and it's always been my thought, is like doing all these different kinds of shows will make me a stronger musician. Putting in the time, those longer sets and stuff, especially, and then it's money wise, obviously, it makes a little bit of a difference. If you can kind of do everything, you can be hired for anything.
Out of these other gigs, ain't the best paying, but I mean,
it's not all about the money, but I love those shows too. It's I'm just obsessed with shows, I think.
Exactly. Like I have a hard time saying no to anything. We actually, another thing we just started up, my next show I have coming up is November 10th. I just said yes to this the other day. We're getting Toads out of retirement. Dusty Lemons will be playing Meltdown.
Oh, nice.
November 10th, I believe it's a Friday, opening up for, I think it's going to be Brett Conlon and the Midnight Miles full band.
Very cool.
Jenny Scara, I believe full band. And, yeah, we're going to do our whole 30-minute set of anti-government, anti-cop songs.
There you go.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
And that's what to go back to the, getting into my punk rock phase, it was the folk punk shit that really revived me. You know, sometimes you get a little bit numb, you do stuff so long, you do kind of want to change stuff, but sometimes you feel like you lose your edge a little bit, and that shit really sharpened my senses. It's a lot of fun. You
all
know?
You need is like one thing, and you're like back in it. You know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think you know, teaching. I see this a lot with students. Is like with guitar. You know, you go through these peaks and valleys, and you hit a plateau, and you're just kind of like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, like I'll play, I guess, you know, with some of the students, and then you see something like click in them, they learn one different thing, one song that like, and then they're just all back 100%, and I think that happens a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Any, especially when you're doing stuff as long as you or I, you know, we've been doing it since I'm a teenager. I mean, I was definitely in my teens when I started.
Yeah, fucking 25 years for me.
Yeah. So I mean,
Fucking.
You're obviously gonna hit some spots that, you know, are it can't just be consistently awesome. There's no such thing as that.
Well, it's like running around, like, you know, like when they made video games really poorly and that you didn't really know what you're supposed to do, and you're kind of like running around this house or this room forever, and you think you've fucking seen everything, and you're like, well, fuck, like, and you're getting kind of bored or frustrated, and then you fucking find a passageway or a door that unlocks a whole nother thing you didn't even. That's kind of what it feels like. You almost get down on yourself because you feel like you're just tapped out, and it's inspiring when you either hear something that you haven't before or are able to do something that you didn't even think of before, and it just like and then you become obsessed again, kind of like you said, you get that new pedal, you get that thing, and you kind of, and that's the good end of really of that side of things. It's a scary mental game. I feel like playing music as much as anything else. You have to really push yourself and kind of like allow yourself to you know, to be discontent with it for a while. Just stick with it, you know.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part. Is you stick with it, it gets
having
better.
The grit,
you know?
to just like, you know, that those times will pass, and you'll be right back into it, and
to still be playing and to kind of endure
through
it, even though you don't feel like you're doing your best, or you feel like this isn't quite
you're
there.
not growing. That I think that it's not necessarily that you're doing bad, it's just like you're not going, like you're just doing the same stuff everywhere. You know, I run through, I get that vibe a lot when I'm playing shows, as, you know, all the time, because, you know, sometimes I don't get the chance to just like sit down and learn a new song. And I mean, I know a lot of covers. I can change up a 3-hour set. I could play, you know, 2 pretty different sets of 3 hours if I needed to. But you get your standard ones that you play that are going to do good on the crowd, and you read the crowd, and you kind of use when as needed as far as the covers go. And you hit some spots sometimes where it's just you know, you just don't feel like you're evolving, or and
you get a little complacent, a little bored with it sometimes, or you know what I mean, like the things that you like about music sometimes aren't, like, you're going through the motions sometimes, it feels like, maybe, you know what I mean, like maybe it's not bad, but you're not like, you know, getting what you want out of it sometimes.
It's like a drug, you know? It's like you do it a lot, and then you get these like crazy awesome highs, and you're like, this is amazing. And then, you know, at a certain point, sometimes you get to a point where you're like, you know, you're not meeting that dopamine requirement or something, and then, you know, you get one of these new, so it's like a different drug all of a sudden when you know, activate some different serotonin don't know what you call them. But anyway, you get some more serotonin, and instead of the dopamine, you're like, oh, this is amazing, I can't. So I think that there is some parallels there. There are some parallels there. But
speaking of drugs too, I gotta say, another thing, and the Dusty Lemons, we since I last saw you, we did a thing with Kyle
live at the pawn shop.
Live at the pawn shop, and that went really great. I think Kyle was not expecting that, but he really went with it and embraced it, and I'm glad to say I think he's joined up with us. So,
oh, nice.
You know, normally we aren't allowed in there, but we're with Kyle. So
who's not with Kyle?
You
if
know,
you're not with Kyle, get out.
You should get that on the shirt. I'm with Kyle.
I'm with Kyle.
But I think we're gonna release that. I think we're gonna just like not on like Spotify or anything like too official, but like on Bandcamp, make a CD.
Well, I mean, if it's a live thing, you can release it on Spotify just as easy. I mean, I've released it a few live albums pretty recently, and it's, you know, I think it's just giving people something different. You know, it's
true.
Nice.
I think maybe we'll do all platforms a little bit later, because we do have the debut album we have pretty much written and maybe almost recorded. I recorded when I sprained my wrist a while ago. I recorded the whole thing with Toads,
right?
Guitar wise and vocally, but I don't know. I haven't listened to it since, so I don't really know if it's worth putting out or not. We might need to redo it, but.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
So I'd like to put that out first on all platforms,
all right.
but I
do start with a live album.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, just for context, maybe if anything. But I do want to put that out there because I think it was a lot of fun, and I think it went okay. Great thing about that band is the floor is pretty. You know, the ceiling's pretty low, so the bar is pretty low.
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But, so, because I did that pawn shop thing too. What was you think it went well? You think you had a good time?
Oh, I had a great time. I was wondering, so like, I walked in wearing my legalized cocaine shirt that I got made at Campus Town. They did a great job. No questions asked. They had no problem. Very, very cheap. They spelled everything correctly. And I was just kind of wondering. It was 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday,
right.
You know, at like Midwest Exchange or whatever. So
it's a bold move.
Yeah, I was
Not
just
sure
like
how people would take that.
Yeah, I wasn't
just
sure.
Shopping at the pawn shop.
I just figured, but I mean, it gets worse from there. Like once we start playing and stuff. So I just figured I'd go ahead and set the tone pretty quick.
Just right away. This is what this is.
You can bail us at it. And I told him too. I was like, hey, if you want, I got like another shirt. I could just put on, do my solo stuff. You want to cut this off at any time. But like,
so that's out on YouTube right now. Like people. Can
actually, that is out on YouTube. I think just on Kyle Yap's YouTube.
Yeah, if you just type in Kyle Yap Pawn Shop series and probably add Dusty Lemons, I mean, it should come right up.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think Kyle had a lot of fun with it too. I appreciate Midwest Exchange letting us act like total fools in there. And we just need to like come up with some album art and I'll put that out.
That's cool.
I was thinking about listing it for sale on Bandcamp for like really expensive, like the most you can, just to see if anyone would actually buy it for that much. As a joke, you know, it'd be really funny, guys.
Yeah, hilarious to buy it as a joke.
But you could still listen to it on YouTube for free.
Yeah. And that's, I feel like that's great content too, because it's, you know, it's such high quality cameras and stuff.
Oh, I thought you were going to say comedy.
Oh.
You know, like,
high quality comedy.
Really, really highbrow stuff we got going on with that group.
Well, I think having it captured that way is cool though. Like, I think that show is a fun way to get some new content, and that, you know, I'm always looking for new stuff that, you know, basically I don't have to totally spend 1,000 hours editing, and so when you get something like that just looks good and you don't really have to do anything, it's always like an extra bonus.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real service to the music community, and that's why, like, I don't know, that's why I really appreciate Kyle doing that. You know, you got Bridget booking shows, even the people who don't have the infrastructure doing what they can to get things out there, to get people out there, to get some, you know, we gotta all kind of keep the ball rolling forward on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm considering opening up my doors. Let me know what you think in the comments.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. There might be a new venue in town.
Might be. I don't know what I'd call it yet. Thing like the dustbin or something.
There you go.
Or,
already works.
You know.
But, maybe something even better will pop in. But for right now, dustbin, I think, is gold.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
So, let's talk about your show, the record release show, a little bit more. So, who was that with again?
We had Softku open things up.
Oh, yeah, they sounded really good.
They're amazing. They added Allison on trumpet.
Oh yeah, it was like a full band, and I was really impressed with them not, having that much going on and still not murdering my ear. I didn't have to put earplugs in or anything.
Yeah,
so that's always a bonus to me.
And like I was wondering too with Mother Murphy's how it's or what it'd be like. I hadn't seen the shows they did prior to that, since they did started doing shows again this summer. And it sounded pretty good in there. It was all pretty good. They even had a little staging off to the side.
The lighting was really cool. I remember that
was
too.
Cool. And always the aesthetic of Mother Murphy's is always just such a pleasing, place to be. They were great. We had to do it with the homies. Formidable Foe were there. We've been playing with Flaccid as long as we've been a band. So and when we put out our first album, we were gonna do a release with them, but COVID happened, so we just put it. I just put it out anyway because I didn't know if the whole fucking thing was just gonna come down or what. Get it out. We, they're just the homies. Like they always do it great, and and then we close it out, and it was really it meant a lot to see so many friends out there. I never really like to do that sort of thing. I don't like to have expectation. I just kind of want to do it. I feel compelled to play music. I want to make albums. I want to share it. I want to get up in front of people and play. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's not always the most comfortable thing. I don't always feel like super good about it.
The answer is when it is,
it's
like the best thing, the best feeling.
It's the best. And that's kind of what it was like then, because it was like just everyone being there, just everyone just kind of sharing in that moment, like a little celebration of us and what we accomplished. Like I felt really proud of it, and it was nice to sit and reflect on it in that moment, and just enjoy and share that with everyone.
Right, and you guys sounded great. I thought. I feel like it was a really solid performance, and I mean, I was a little worried, because the band before, sometimes you couldn't hear the vocals all that well, but and there weren't even any monitors, I don't think, right? Or was there?
I don't think there were.
It was weird. The speakers are behind the stage.
Yeah, they were up behind.
Right. Which is usually a no-no. I don't know why it works. I'm not an audio engineer, but usually if you have speakers behind that are pointed towards the microphones, that's where you get the crazy feedback.
Yeah.
But so I don't know why it worked, but it worked. So and that way you could probably tilt your head and hear just a little bit, on the mains instead of having monitors. But
another great thing too about that lineup is so we had Bridget helped us put together the show.
Right.
Manuel plays drums with Eric Manuel plays drums with Softco, and then Toads plays drums with us. So you have 3 of the best sound people in town too to troubleshoot whatever. So it's good company to to have for that sort of stuff for sure.
Ready to rock if there's a problem. Ready to roll. But and it was just a great set. Trying to think of what's the song called that Let It Go.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of my favorites of the night. It just sounded really, really solid.
Yeah, I started adding the yeehaw before the solo.
You gotta have the yeehaw,
you know what I
mean? Right?
Fucking yeah.
But I don't know. It's just seeing you that way. Your vocals were just solid. Your guitar was solid. Everything was just good, and it was a really fun show.
I felt happy. I actually got to say too, for me, the other thing I addressed, since I know we're gonna have some time off, is I've been having I have these hand arm issues time to time, I'm always worried about, I was really worried about that, something going wrong with that. I went and got an injection in my hand, maybe like a month ago, I think, at, I can't remember the nice people who did it. The doctor was really chill. And I think that might have helped along with problems.
That's
so
great.
Fingers crossed. But
you think that it's working it out pretty
I think
good?
so. It was fucking gnarly, dude. So like it was a cortisone shot that they do at the base here. I was having a problem where my finger would lock up kind of if I'd been playing for like, we play the circle. I couldn't play for like an hour and a half really. It kind of, real intense stuff. So like it lock up and then I'd kind of have to do something like this to kind of get to, so my tendon I guess was like sticking right here. Like, so he gave me a shot right here and he said, it's going to be some pain, some pressure. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's a fucking shot. Like I've gotten,
right.
In the hand, it's not going to be pleasant, but I know what he meant by pressure. So have you ever gotten like a cortisone shot before or anything? Like, so I've gotten it in my back before and it really wasn't that bad. I think because this was a smaller area. He gave me a shot and it just felt, and he's like, that's the pain. I was like, okay, yeah, that didn't feel good. And then he started pushing on the plunger. And for like a minute, he's doing it. The whole time, it felt like my finger was just like inflating. Like it was going to blow up. Like it felt like my finger was like about to explode. Right. Like, and I'm like grabbing at the wall. And he's just like, the whole time. And I'm just like, holy fuck. I'm like, whoa, dude. Like I'm saying stuff like, is that what it's supposed to feel like? He's like, yep. Just like, and then my finger was like dead for 2 days. Like it was completely numb. I couldn't hold anything or like do anything. And
so that scare you a little bit too?
Yeah, because it's like, oh, is this the new normal or something? I'm like, did he just fuck up my hand? And I still get a little bit of pain kind of around here and there, but before it was more like, it wasn't pain, it was just like unavoidable, like right. So it's manageable now. So shout out to
that's awesome,
Orthopedics of Illinois or something. I think hopefully that solved my problem going forward. I'm hopefully ready to go because
start playing these 5-hour sets soon.
Yeah, I mean, because I need the money. So if you got 5-hour gigs, hit me up.
Right.
No, but that was. And I remember they said too, they're like, we can't do too many of those. We could, if that doesn't fix your problem, we could do one more. And then the next option is they like go in, like in the room too, they just cut a little incision, like cut the tendon and like stitch it. Cause it's kind of like your band is thicker and it gets caught or something. So they have to like, and that's what I do. Cause I'm never getting one of those shots again unless they put me under. Dude,
what if the other one hurts more? You don't know.
Oh man. Just put me out.
Yeah.
It was so bad. That's probably the worst shot I've ever gotten easily. Yikes. Like, so stretch, take care of your shit, take care of yourself. I did not do that. Like, you never think of that when you're playing music, really. It is kind of a endurance thing,
I've talked to you about some stuff like that, and I've talked to, I know Jay Thomason was having some back issues. Yeah. And it's like such a terrifying thought to me. It's literally my livelihood to an extent. Yeah. So it's like, if for something crazy like that happened, I would be like, I don't even know what I would do.
When I fell and hurt my wrist too, helping Spellman get his drone out of a tree.
That's what, yeah.
You should always definitely have done put the blame on Spellman for that. That's I couldn't play guitar for like a month, and I was like, you take those things for granted because I don't play like every day. I don't practice as much as I should. Some of it because of the issues. Rest for a long time was better for me. I just pick it up and kind of, still got it, set it down.
Still got it.
But like, when I couldn't play for like a month, I was just like, God, this sucks. Like, so
I'm a daily user, so it's hard. It would be, I don't even know how I would function, honestly.
I'm getting there again. I finally got my space set up. Like, the great thing about like this place you got here is it's really, it just makes you feel kind of creative. It kind of makes you want to just work on that stuff. Like, it's a nice creative space, and I've been lacking that in my own home, but I finally have the time and energy and space to make that work for me. We're getting into winter. I walked past the ice cream shop. They're closed, you know, one of the signs of the changing of the season. So
End of days.
Yeah, it's time we all like just lock ourselves in our house. So might as well, you know,
have a guitar.
Look a little something like this and kind of
have a guitar to play. And
I need one of these though.
Little drum
Everyone's got a
kit.
drum kit they need to store somewhere.
You know, besides this kick drum, I found the rest of it on the side of the road.
You know, that's the thing, right? It's like I feel like everyone gets one shot at like a trash like side of the road drum kit. Like I feel like those were always a thing back in the day. Like we used to have them too.
Maybe just not as many people get kits.
In this economy, you got to hold on to those drums.
Right,
you know?
right. Well,
that kit better turn into fucking
nothing
John
about
Bonham.
the kit that I'm playing on is good. Besides the kick drum and the kick pedal, because I used to play.
Is it really interesting, like how shallow that kick is?
Right, and it is because I used to play with it live. This used to be like my main kick drum.
So this is more like a one-man band style.
It's Sidekick Drums or who made it. So it's like
Cool.
specifically for that. It really sounds great. It has this nice high end that cuts through, but still has that kind of. I know it's a little clicky for what I would normally go to, but like when I'm playing in headphones, it's really nice because that click cuts through. And I don't know, it sounds pretty good. That big.
I like the stickers on the front too.
Yeah.
It's well done.
Yeah, well, that was, all low. I had nothing to do with that. I had a little tape on there at one point, but she bought a bunch on Wish and just went wild. She does that with all my stuff, all my guitar cases and whatnot.
Tables.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, is that just...
Well, at one point, those were cut. Those weren't stickers. Those were just cut out from magazines. She decoupaged it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that looks great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, see, could you do that to a guitar?
We
Interesting.
if you had a kind of a...
Wood grainy kind of
Yeah, and
like
one
stripped
that
down.
maybe you don't care about as much.
Yeah.
Just we don't know exactly how it'll go.
Got a
but-
few of those.
Anyhow, so let's what have you been up to since the album come out? How are you feeling about it being out? Like things.
I feel good. Like I do need to probably do a little bit more of a, I think we lost a little bit of the momentum because I'm always I don't generate a lot of content. It's just I always try to stay busy. So when we're playing a lot of shows, when we have singles coming out every couple of weeks, you can kind of keep the ball rolling and keep eyes on stuff. And we're doing really well, but we're kind of losing. We haven't had anything for a couple months. So, and I haven't been sharing a lot. I think the last announcement we made was the beginning of September. I went with Wolf. Both of our CDs are available in Waiting Room Records and on their website. And I think they said they'd sell merch for us too. So check their website out for all sorts of local stuff. But I need to work on I want to boost some stuff for that. We got shows coming up. We're in a little bit of a lull right now, so I need to push the ball.
It's always weird when something finally comes out and then like you get done with this big long process and then it's like, well, what now?
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
with an album. Like I do singles, so it's like I always have a single I'm kind of working on halfway if I'm not 100% in, and then once I release the thing that was before it, I'm like I can jump right into that one. But you get. I remember when we did our full length album, 14 tracks, and we got done and it was just like, well, it was awesome to have it done, awesome to have something to show people, but it's like, that was all my time and energy for so long. I wasn't putting out any other content other than...
I need to learn maybe to have some stuff for the back end now. I think Wolf did a good job of, after his stuff came out, he had like some sort of good stuff packaged kind of even for social media, like a couple of videos and,
he's
and
great,
longer and short form stuff.
Just he'll just make a ton of stuff always. I mean, he was probably making some of that stuff before. He probably made it right after it came out, but he goes through peaks and valleys just like all of us do.
Oh yeah.
I was in this last week was in a really bad, it was a week before the single came out yesterday, and I don't know, I just felt like I needed a little bit of a break because I've been posting 4 or 5 videos a week and editing and all that stuff, and
man.
you hit a point and you're just like I just mentally like need a rest from it, but then you lose a bunch of steam and it's like, well, how do you jump back in? It probably is the worst time to do that since I had a song coming out. It's like I don't really know what the
Well, it's nonstop too, right? Like you don't always get a break. You do gotta take them when you can, I guess. Like, but
you're the arbitrator of
that
when
you're
is.
your own boss.
Yeah,
you know, I guess. Like,
which makes it extra weird. I mean,
it is. You know, like,
I feel like
I'm a pretty chill boss myself, I guess. So
right,
like that's my problem too. It cuts both ways.
I
right?
drive my
bit,
employees a little bit too hard. I think.
It's an interesting thing. Like and you're tasked with creating things out of nothing too, which is just
is a great way to talk about art in general. It's like, we're making stuff from zero, into existence.
You're just pulling things into the world,
right? Which is why it's one of the reasons it's so amazing to have the ability to create things like that. It's like you're taking nothing and turning it into something, essentially. Yeah. Or just a thought. You're taking a thought and bringing it into a full reality.
Yeah. I mean, really,
But, so it's easy to get kind of like the now what kind of mentality right after something releases. And, if we're talking about me, it never does quite as good as I'm hoping. And that kind of, is always a little bit of puts a little tack in my toe or something about really pushing on just for a second. I get that for a second, and then it's like, okay, well, time to get back into it, but it's hard to know what to aim at that point.
Well, that too, and my problem, I mean my thing too is, I guess, like, I'm good at redirecting my energy, I guess, and I feed a lot off of other people. Like if I have another person that I can get some creative work done with, I think that's when I'm most productive. So like the NoRobot stuff was in a lull. The other problem though is I'm the main person kind of pushing all I'm in charge of all the socials.
You're the guy.
I'm our publicist or whatever the fuck it is.
Every man has one guy that pretty much wears almost every hat.
you know what I mean? So
you
like
had Toads, which he definitely
split a lot of he wears the most important hats. I wear the silliest hats. But I so I kind of refocused my energy this last month on, initially I did some solo stuff. I'd like to have a solo EP. I think Wolf might help me record and put it out. So just something, just an EP. I'm just shooting for EPs anymore, like 5 songs. Probably release them all as singles if I can, and that seemed to work out well.
Yeah, I think that you guys did a really good job with that last time, as far as not just because I just having such a long, especially if you're not like doing the videos and stuff, having like such a long gap between releases. Whereas if you do like almost every song as a single leading up to the album, it's like you're slowly you have something to release regularly that keeps people like excited and engaged.
And it's interesting to see how like what the length of time is. Like a week is almost long enough, I think, but it's a little bit too soon for me. So 2 weeks is good. I know Formidable Foe, who played our album release, and they've been releasing tons of great music this year. I think they're doing every month. And I almost, to me, like I'd want to space it or put it together a little bit sooner. I think 2 weeks is pretty good, but then again, like if I'm putting out all the singles before and then I put out the album, I really need to start thinking more on the back end of that stuff too. Right. But still, if I'm doing 5 songs, let's say for a solo EP, and then I do the album release, that's like 10 weeks, that's like 2.5 months, and that's about what we did for the NoRobot thing. I think we started putting out beginning of June, released the end of August, and it was a good run, kind of carried us through September, but I need to I need to generate some content. I'd like to do a video maybe with Wolf. I've had some ideas. I've had a lot of Dusty Lemons music videos ideas.
Right.
That shit just writes itself. We got that stuff coming up. I got a band I started with Kyle Holiday called Escape Rope.
Oh, Kyle Holiday. He's the one who does the booking at Daddy-O's.
He did. He does. He was he mostly like was booking for like metal bands and stuff.
Yeah. Quick side note. We were talking earlier about venues. Mm-hmm. That is one of the most underutilized places in town. I mean, at least Kyle was doing something with it.
Yeah. I've never been in there myself, honestly.
I used to play shows there you know,
It's pretty big, right?
semi-regularly. Well, it's like Six Strings, except it's more of a rock club than like a country.
Because my impression was that I thought it was more of like a dance, like kind of like a Euphoria or Drifter.
That's
Drifters,
the thing,
you
is
know?
it turned into that.
Yeah.
But it didn't used to be that. It was
because they had the metal shows.
It has a nice stage. The sound is a little weird because they have like a booth up here, so they're not really hearing what the audience hears. So that was always a little bit weird with that. But I mean, they used to have like big bands come through. Like there was like this cover. I think they're Mike and Joe or something like that, or big Chicago cover band.
Oh, you know what? I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that. Yeah, and that place looked packed. Like, that is a pretty big place, yeah.
It's big. It has a nice stage. It has it has enough sound to make it work. And it just, like, now is, you know, back when I was playing there, I was talking to one of the people and they were just, like, asking me, because it was, like, down to, I was playing full band there for, like, it's like almost 200, 250 for, you know, essentially not very much. And then they were trying to,
like venues
they were trying to downgrade it. And they were just like, well, you know, these DJs, they do stuff cheaper, you know, so. And I mean, it works. They pack that place on like Fridays and Saturdays when the students are around. But man, I just always feel like, I wish that they would shift gears. But I don't know if it's a thing that's, you know, if ever really come into fruition again. But it's a nice spot, you know.
So I'm saying, you know, if like we need more infrastructure, we need more DIY. If you want to open up your home, comment below if you want us to throw shows at your house.
But I digress. I took us away. We're talking about Kyle Holiday. Your head.
Oh yeah. No, it's Escape Rope. We were seeing all these bands at Coffee House, and one of them is from Champaign. Or actually, I think we caught them at some house show in someone's garage or something. They're called Heaving, and it's like, it kind of just reminds me of like Deftones, kind of like early 2000s kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think you sent me some of that stuff.
Yeah,
maybe. And
it's
definitely
really good. Like, we actually saw them this past weekend with Kangaroo Court up in Peoria.
Kangaroo Court's awesome.
Kangaroo Court, yeah. Bands, I mean, man, I think they're both out of Champaign, but I think Kangaroo Court moved to Chicago recently.
Oh, really?
Killer bands, but Heaving has more of this, like, it's like the better side of nu metal. I know what you're thinking when I say nu metal, but it's more like, you know, more the Deftones-y, kind of like the best of that stuff. Not the Limp Bizkit stuff.
Because you sent me some of the stuff I think you've been doing with him. Is that what you sent me?
Yeah.
And I was just expecting to hear, you know, Alex Girard.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. I was a little confused because you didn't really explain it much, but now I get it more.
Yeah. Because Cal has a great sensibility for that type of music. I don't. I feel more like a blues player, more like you know, I'll even take funk player anymore. I guess I've been doing that long enough. I didn't feel like much of one of those either when I started doing that though. But you pick up on some of those chords or some of those common, you know, phrasings that like you do on guitar, and I don't know. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We called it Escape Rope because we saw Heaving at Mount Moon, and you know, named after Pokemon. Escape Rope, Pokemon. We're just kind of keeping with the theme. It's kind of fun, and the ultimate goal is to play Mount Moon. So I was talking to them this weekend. They put on the show in Peoria, and hopefully we can get there, you know. I think we might bring in Mike McKenna on drums. We had him play drums in the Nirvana. Oh yeah, in the Nirvana project, we called it Marble Mouth. We had Micah Hadaway on bass, Mike McKenna on drums. And then we had Matt Miller come up as Weird Al and do Smells Like Nirvana at the end.
Nice.
Which I should have all those videos up sometime in the next couple weeks.
There you go. See, that's good content to be throwing up there. Cool stuff.
It's just the IG live stream and
well, I mean, that's what I do for most of my videos is you know, those video files for those full shows get super, super big, and you can't really fit that many on your phone. So what I've been doing for a long time is I do the Instagram Live, and then you can archive it, and then you can just download the whole video. It's not as good quality as maybe if you use like the 4K camera, but you know, if you're doing a 4K camera on your phone, that takes up so much space. If you're doing a 3-hour set, you can't even get the whole 3-hour set.
Does the IG Live go past? Mine cut off after an hour. Does it? It must have just been some sort of internet thing.
Yeah, there you do run it. There's been times where I've tried to post the whole set, and then there's an error and you lose it completely. So that's frustrating. But you know, I do so many of them that it's like I have so many backlog that, you know, I can really, and I never go back through them. I mean, I'm always just like, I remember what went decent this last weekend, and I'm like, all right, I'll probably just do a clip from that song or something. But you know, I get deep dive. It'll be interesting to have all of these when I'm like, you know, in 10 years and be like, wonder what that, you know, just look at these random shows that I played all the time. And but anyway, and you can download those Instagram videos, and then I just edit them and video editing software with CapCut or DaVinci Resolve.
Right, I need to get that. I just got a new computer, like desktop, and they had something on there I was going to use, but I was trying to remember what I used before. I think it was DaVinci.
DaVinci's great. I will say, you know, it has limitations. CapCut's, I use both of them. A lot of times I'll use DaVinci to kind of get the ball rolling on the clips, and like, because it's very intuitive, you know, easy for me to use, has great color correction. Even though I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to that, you have a lot more control. And you know, I've accidentally gotten some stuff that looks really, really amazing out of DaVinci. But then for like, you know, a lot of times you want to put like a hook in the video, or you want to put, you know, the lyrics. You know, even the phone app on CapCut has my desktop doesn't. You hit the auto lyric button.
Oh, and it picks up on it?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, it's, you know, correcting 8 things is much better.
But you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, after it does it. And then you can pick the text and all that stuff, the way you want it to look. And it's, you know, it just looks a little bit more professional than some of the stuff really on DaVinci or anywhere else, where the text just always looks kind of clunky. So I mean, and really, since I've started using all that stuff, I mean, I feel like CapCut's had a bunch of new features. Like, they have pretty decent color correction now, and a lot of extra features that they didn't have when I started using it. And I don't even have the pro version. Like, I just have the free version.
Shit, I might have to check that out, because I actually will be needing to cut up that stuff up. And yeah, like you said, that's content right there. I need to be better about that sort of thing myself. If I did that, you could even just leak it throughout. Like, if I had I did have a live stream of the record release, but it was it's mostly my back.
Yeah, I did see that.
I didn't have a good place to, you know, I just always a last second thought, like, oh, I'll put it here to get something.
Yeah.
Mostly to just have some people be able to tune in or something.
Honestly, well, the tune in thing is great, because I mean, if people like what you're doing.
And I always see your stuff when I get on Instagram and you're playing it.
Yeah, you're like, go check it out for a second.
Out, you know what I mean? Like,
move on.
Cool,
but
see, you know?
yeah, and it's just.
I wanted to join a few times, but I was like, you're playing though, and I'm like, I don't know how that works.
I can't even. Like, sometimes I'll have I have 2 phones, and for this reason, as I'll monitor it. I'll shoot with one, and I'll be able. But even then, it's like hard to see if people are talking or watching, or, you know, I can kind of see the framing at least. So I can see that I'm in the shot, or it's not just like the top of my head is missing in the shot. You know, that's what I mainly use it for. But I'm not as interactive as, because it's a show, you know, I'm interacting with people.
And that's your first and foremost, for sure. I've actually been thinking about doing live streaming again weekly. I posted a thing today because I was talking to someone. They run the Pink Turds account on Instagram.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
I don't know if they do promotion or just art in general and stuff. But they were talking about live streaming. I was like, you know, with it being winter, like I said, you know, you're kind of going to be like locked in, not out as much. Wanted to be productive. I was like, maybe I should do a weekly live stream again. I think that'd be kind of cool, you know, like if I could just pick it like 30 minutes or just mess around. It might be kind of.
What I think is great about that kind of thing, and obviously the pandemic kind of opened me up to some of this, but just doing a lot of those live streams, and you know, it keeps you a little bit sharp and gets you a little bit better at dealing with being filmed while you're playing, which is, to me, maybe not. I get in my head a lot when there's a camera involved.
Yeah, I mean, I always like.
It's hard to just
any non-low pressure situation,
right.
Like,
and then, but also you can harvest those for the content like that. The same kind of thing that I'm saying I do with you can that I did a really cool version of this song.
50% chance I kill it.
Yeah, yeah. And if and of course, when I'm saying this, obviously we're judging ourselves way more harshly than, so like when I'm watching these live streams on Instagram, it's like I'm being pretty picky. I want it to be like the best section.
Oh, of course.
The best song that I'm putting out. I don't think other people would really scrutinize. So, the people that are viewing it, they're still having fun. They don't know, your level of critique, or like you played it this well this time and this time you're a little bit lower. But so that's what I'm saying, harvest clips. That's kind of what I'm talking about. But
yeah, 100%.
You can go through, and with CapCut, I mean, if you can do most of the stuff on a decent cell phone with CapCut, and start, and with a lot of the social media stuff, it's like they don't need to be more than a minute ever. So you're just really looking for a solid minute. I mean, it's good. It's good every once in a while.
Within a song or something, like fucking.
You shred a solo or something like that, or you just have this really like nice part of a song that you feel like you did a little better maybe than you normally do, and you're like, okay, well let's get that clip and let's put it up, and that's content every day, which I think is. Kind of the goal. I shouldn't say every day. I used to be more every day. Now I'm like 4 or 5 a week. But
I think as long as you're getting people to see your stuff regularly, like I said with the album, I think sharing a new and new stuff too that like gets people interested, like it keeps your momentum going.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you have the potential to build off of that, but you just kind of don't want to.
It's a hard thing to keep moving, though.
It is. I mean, like, I remember there was one day, because you schedule this stuff, like when you go to Spotify, you like submit the playlist and like weeks in advance and all this shit. I remember I woke up and I forgot we released a single, and I made the post late, and I was like, oh, I haven't even listened to this yet. Why would anyone else? Even though I guess I've heard it, but like, it's like I kind of wasn't excited in the sense that I wasn't thinking about it. It slipped my mind, so I'm like, well, it slipped my mind. Exactly. Obviously, like I can't always expect everyone to have it at the top of theirs. So
and that's
it's hard, but
I something that I think I was just having a conversation with a buddy of mine over text, because I'd sent him the video of my new song and stuff, and I was like, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. And I think that he kind of was like, you don't have to say that, like, I want to listen. I'm like, yeah, but people's time and their energy and their attention are just like one of the only commodities that's truly yours when you're not on the clock, is so it's very valuable. And to expect somebody to just like, if to know what you have going on, to take the time to listen to your music, it's such a generous, nice thing. I think, maybe when I was younger, I would probably take that part of it for granted a little bit. But the older I get, the more I realize, like, anybody who takes the time to do anything, and you have to tell them a million times, like if you're trying to put some song out or something, you have to post it. That has to be your mentality. Like, you can't have an expectation of other people caring even remotely as much as you do, because obviously this is like your thing, your project, your baby. But I've had several conversations with musicians that are just like, I feel like I'm annoying people, or I feel like I'm posting too much, and it's like, well, you almost have to post too much, because to get anybody to care at all, they have to be seeing you regularly. You have to be in their ear a little bit, and it's not their job. If you do something that you feel like is great, and you want other people to, hopefully notice the greatness of it, it's your response. If you think it's that good, you have to put in the time to get people. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if I'm saying this perfectly.
No, I totally get what you're saying, for sure, because like, for me, it's like the one thing I am, because I'm pretty reserved on a lot of other shit. Like, I'm not I'm not trying to blow people up too much online, but I will be very shameless with promoting my music.
Yeah.
One thing I do, and I don't know if it's effective or not, I don't think it's, I need to, I mean, we're always trying to find the best ways, but I'd always just message people personally and be like, hey, you know, we just put out this new single or something, like, check it out or something, and send it to each person until Facebook will not let me send messages. I can't even respond for like a day or something. But I even if it is like kind of a copied and pasted message, I at least find it a little more personal, and I try to send it to people who I think will take the time to listen. Because I think sometimes too, like, sometimes you feel like you're getting a little bit shrouded. You know, like, I don't know who's seeing my posts sometimes.
Yeah,
like, I don't. Some posts do better than others. Like, I'll post some dumbass meme and it gets like, you know, like 100 likes, and then I'll share my song and I feel
classic,
like it gets seen like 12 times.
That's the classic story.
You know?
Anything you don't care about, you post, you do. It tends to do a million times better than the things you actually want to do well.
So that's why I was just trying to hand deliver a little bit more, like, you know, because I mean, you know, at least for sure, like, that's the one thing I'll ask you is just check it out. You know what I mean?
And
like,
you know, if you don't hear anything back, it's nothing to be mad about. I don't know. It's like I honestly don't even want opinions most of the time. I just kind of want the streams. No, I'm joking. I mean, I'm mostly not joking, anytime anybody hits play on one of my songs is like such an amazing, nice thing that they're doing. And anytime they go the extra, you know, mile and, you know, send me a message back, or like, you know, it means that they listen, they thought about it, they, you know,
buy a CD, you know, come to a show. Like, I mean,
it's truly amazing.
Supporting, it really is like, supporting local artists is it's an important thing to do, and it's and it's not hard to do, and it means a lot. And I always try to do that. If I know like a band, some homies got on new shirts, some new merch, like, let me get a copy.
Is that,
you know, like,
let me get Wicked shirts coming?
Yeah. Speaking of which, I actually do think they got some new merch out. So go buy a fucking shirt.
Yeah.
We need to get. I want to get a 3-color NoRobot PBR or PB Robot shirt, 3-color shirt. So I don't know. I think we might go to Meltdown. Might have to talk to them.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll get, if people have an interest, maybe we'll get a mass order of legalized cocaine shirts if they're into that too. I'll be wearing mine when I get there, so I'll see what they think of it. You know?
Yeah. Test the waters a little bit first.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just promote your out. You know, it's been out a little bit now, but let's, you know, it's your newest thing.
Yeah, still looking for streams. NoRobot My Decline, Spotify, anywhere you listen to stuff. YouTube, playing 6 Strings December 20th, for sure. Dusty Lemons should have some stuff out. We're playing Meltdown November 10th. Escape Rope, be on the lookout for that. And I think also Dusty Lemons will be the house band for the Sammy Hot Dogs Variety Hour.
There you go.
In January. So be on the lookout for that announcement as well. And then I'm sure there's many other things. Maybe come to my house for a show, maybe.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to stay busy. So, you know, get at me about whatever.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen as always. It is truly a privilege, and, you know, I'm grateful to have anybody that spends any sort of time supporting or watching or, you know, even just hitting the play button on anything I do. Super amazing. And appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for coming on, and we'll see you next time.